Now, welcome to all of you to the fourth class of this nuclear physics. So, in the previous class, we have studied about alpha particles. So, in this class, we have to study beta particles. Now, energy emitted by beta rays, which are coming out from the radioactive element, have continuous distribution of energy ranging from 0 to maximum. Maximum is the characteristics of this radioactive element. Then using this beta ray spectrometer, how energy of the beta rays varies for different particles versus their relative number of the beta particles possessing different energy graph is plotted. So from this it is clear that relative number and energy. So energy of the beta particle goes on increasing as the relative number increases. Then it reaches the maximum energy. The maximum energy is called as end point energy of the beta particles. It is the characteristics of that radioactive element. Then the relative number, that group of particles possessing same energy, goes on increasing and reaches maximum value, again goes on declining. So using this beta ray spectrometer, this continuous energy distribution of the beta particle has been studied. This curve explains three facts. So first one is, as the relative number goes on increasing, the continuous distribution of energy spectrum goes on increasing, then this energy reaches the maximum value. That maximum value of energy reached is known as end point energy, which is the characteristics of that radioactive element. End point energy is the characteristics of radioactive element. Then second one is sum of the radioactive elements. In addition to this continuous energy distribution, shows the line spectrum, maximum continuous line spectrum. Not all, only some radioactive element. Then the third one is, now we have said that always when alpha particle or beta particles comes out, it comes out with along with gamma rays. But it is found that only this N24 emitted beta particle along with the gamma rays, then N13 and IN 114 does not emit gamma rays. Then question is why? Then we have to answer for this. Why? As the relative number increases, the energy goes on increasing, reaches maximum, and it goes on declining. And why there is a sharp lines, and only this element emits gamma rays, whereas N13 and IN 114 does not emit gamma rays. Next we have to study historical difficult to explain continuous beta ray spectra. So continuous beta ray spectra emitted by the radioactive element gave the puzzling problem. At the first sight, so it violates the discreteness of energy level, as suggested by this alpha and gamma decay. You cannot neglect the discreteness idea because the discreteness energy level is an experimental fact. Then restoring the idea of discreteness. When this beta particle comes out with the nucleus, it may not come out with the full energy. Then part of the energy is left inside the nucleus. Therefore, the emission of beta particle is associated with gamma radiation. But also it is found that some of the elements, radioactive elements, do not emit gamma radiations. Then, regarding its energy, so the energy of this beta particle should be equal to the definite amount of energy, which is the difference between the energy of the parent and nuclei. But the beta particle takes any value of energy between 0 to maximum. The energy emitted by the beta particle is not definite as required by the energy difference between the parent and daughter nuclei. Then the average energy emitted by this beta particle is 1 by 3 of this total energy. Here 2 by 3 of the energy is escaping, thus violating the law of conservation of energy. So in first problem, the beta emission violates the law of conservation of energy. Then in some of the radioactive elements, the linear momentum, sum of the linear moment of the product is not equal to the linear momentum of the reactant. Means, before emission of the beta particle, this parent nucleus was at rest. Then, after emission of beta particle along with some residual nucleus, so this should be recoiled nucleus, and this beta particle causes linear momentum along the axis. Then sum of the linear momentum should be 0, but it is not found that it is not 0. That means it is found that the linear momentum of the product is not equal to 0, thus violating the law of conservation of linear momentum. Means in some of the cases of radioactive element, it is possible to measure the linear momentum when beta particles comes out. So before emission, that nucleus was at rest, its momentum was 0. Then after emission, sum of the residual nuclear momentum, sum of the residual nucleus and beta particle should be 0, but it is found that that momentum is not 0. Again, it is violating the law of conservation of linear momentum. And the third point is, beta particles are nothing but electron, or sometimes it is called as fermions. They possess spin half. It is angular momentum. So when beta particles comes out from the nucleus, its spin has to be decreased by half integer. So because beta particle which comes out with the spin half and its original spin has to be decreased by half. But in some of the cases it is found that either the spin of this reactant remains same or changes by integral but not half integral. Again it is violating the law of conservation of angular momentum. Now we have to explain continuous beta ray spectrum. So first person has tried to explain is Pauli. According to Pauli, if a beta particle comes out from the nucleus of the radioactive element, it comes out along with some other particle. The name of the particle is known as neutrino. It is the neutrino hypothesis. So when the radioactive disintegration takes place by the emission of this beta particle, there is another particle comes out from the nucleus along with this beta particle, and that particle is named as neutrino. And beta particle takes an endpoint energy. It carries the disintegration energy of that beta particle is nothing but endpoint energy. The remaining energy is carried by this particle known as neutrino. So the charge on the neutrino is 0. Its rest mass is 0. Neutrino don't have any charge. Rest mass is 0, and it has a spin. This is h upon 2 pi. That means neutrino is one fundamental particle. So it is chargeless, 0 mass. Only it has got half h upon 2 pi. So what this Pauli has said? So he has proposed the neutrino hypothesis. So when the disintegration of radioactive element takes place, along with the beta particle, one more particle comes out. The name of that particle is neutrino. The charge on the neutrino is, it is chargeless particle. Mass is 0. It has only half spin, half h over 2 pi. Then, on the basis of this, Fermi, you have to study Fermi theory of beta ray spectrum. So Fermi made following assumptions. Before explaining, he made some assumptions. So according to the first assumption, this beta particle and neutrino were not present inside the nucleus. They are just created or formed at the time of decay. Initially, they were not present inside the nucleus. Means beta particle and neutrino were not present inside the nucleus. They are just created at the time of decay. Then second one is the creation of this beta particle takes place when neutron is converted into proton and vice versa. This creation of these particles takes place inside the nucleus. Neutron may be converted into proton inside the nucleus, and proton may be converted into neutron. These particles are just created at the time of decay. How neutron is converted into proton and proton proton is converted into neutron. And his third assumption is neutrino don't have any mass. Its rest mass is 0. The rest mass of neutrino is 0. The law of conservation of then fourth one, the law of conservation of energy and momentum holds good. Then last fifth point is there is no parity change. So he made some five assumptions. One is neutrino and beta particles are not present inside the nucleus. They are just created at the time of decay. Then how they are created? When neutron is converted into proton or proton is converted into neutron, so these particles are created. Then rest mass of this neutrino is 0. Then the law of conservation of momentum and the conservation of energy holds good. There is no parity change. Fermi theory based on some simple ideas to explain this continuous beta ray spectrum. So according to this idea, when a radioactive element emits beta particle, its charge changes by 1 unit. If emitted particle is beta or an electron, number of protons inside the nucleus increases by 1, number of neutron decreases by 1. If emitted particle is positron, number of protons inside the nucleus decreases by 1 and number of neutrons increases by 1. Fermi theory based on these simple ideas to explain the beta ray spectrum. Now let us study how the emission of these particles takes place. So first one is electron emission. Electron emission is also known as beta decay. So during this electron emission, neutron gets converted into proton emitting beta particle and antineutrino. That means here neutron get converted into proton emitting beta particle along with antineutrino. Call this equation as 1. Second one is positron emission. Positron emission. During this process, proton get converted into neutron emitting positron and neutrino. Means proton gets converted into neutron emitting positron and neutrino. Call this equation as 2. One more phenomena is there. Before that, when a proton is converted into neutron, charge on the parent nucleus is decreased by 1. Then one more phenomena is electron capture. What is this electron capture? See, this is the nucleus of the radioactive element, and it is known as first cell. You are calling it as K cell, K, L, M, like this. See, this nucleus captures one of the electron from its nearest orbit. Captures an electron from its nearest orbit. Say nearest orbit is K cell. It is also called as K capture. Then a neutrino is emitted. This equation can be represented as its nucleus captures an electron and it is converted into neutron, thus neutrino is formed. Call this equation as 3. So there are 3 equations. How these 3 equations are processed? The problem of this beta decay theory is to calculate the probability of processing of these 3 equations. To make the calculation, it is necessary to introduce a force which produces these changes. Which produces these changes means the conversion of neutron to proton and proton to neutron, emitting beta particle, positron and neutrino. Fermi has introduced one force and treated its operation mathematically by methods analogous to one used in quantum mechanical treatment of emission of electromagnetic radiation. Fermi theory gives formula for the energy distribution of emitted beta particle. That is, the fraction of the radioactive element disintegrated per unit time, giving beta particles of kinetic energy lying between T and T plus dt. The fraction of the radioactive nucleus disintegrated per unit time, emitting beta particles with the kinetic energy lying between T and T plus dt. This fraction is represented by P T dt is equal to G square mod of M square F Z T into T plus M naught C square into T square plus 2 M naught C square raised to half into T0 minus T whole square into dt. call this equation as 4. So this formula contains many factors. Here, this G is a natural constant, gives the strength of the Fermi force. Then M is the quantity. It is the absolute square of the absolute magnitude of wave mechanical quantity. Square of the absolute wave mechanical quantity, it is called as matrix element. So the matrix element gives the probability of the nucleus of radioactive element undergoes beta transformation. Then FZT is the complicated function which measures the effect of Coulomb field produced by the nucleus on the emitted beta particle. Then rest from here to here, it is called as a statistical factor. That statistical factor gives how the total energy T0 is distributed among emitted beta particle and neutrino, and also the rest of the products of the nucleons. See here, this gives, or it measures, it is the square of the absolute magnitude of a wave mechanical quantity. It gives the probability that nucleus of the radioactive element undergoes beta transformation. Now to discuss this equation 4, here assume that M is independent of energy distribution. Then FZT can be taken as 1. That wave function is considered as 1. Then for elements of low atomic number Z, the allowed transition gives the energy, it is P T dt is equal to, then this is G dash square. This is independent of energy. This is taken as 1 and into T plus m naught c square into T square into T square plus 2 m naught c square raised to half into T naught minus T whole square into dt. This is for an element of low atomic number Z. Of course, they are the radioactive elements. And write this equation as 5. Here G dash is the new constant. M naught is the rest mass of an electron or beta particles. If you discuss this equation 5, So at t is equal to 0 and t is equal to t naught. If you put t is equal to 0, that pt dt is 0. If t0 is equal to t, and in both the case this fraction works to be 0, then when it is maximum, so this pt dt goes on varying between 0 to t. So if you increase t from 0 and pt also goes on increasing, reaches maximum value at t, then if you plot this graph by taking pt and along this energy, so it goes on increasing, reaches maximum value, then at this point energy becomes maximum, or it is an end point energy. Then also it shows the series of distinct lines superposed on a faint continuous background. So this theoretical spectrum agrees very well with the experimental measured value. So then you know that some of the radioactive elements, spectrum of some radioactive element gives the series of distinct lines superimposed on faint background. The question is why? It is simple. Some of the radioactive elements gives line spectrum instead of continuous spectrum. Why they gives line spectrum instead of continuous emission spectrum? There are two types of electrons emitted by nucleus of the radioactive element. So one electron is known as primary electron, or disintegrated electron. Another one is known as secondary electron or internal conversion electron. What is this primary electron? Some of the nucleus of the radioactive element emits beta particle of variable velocities. So the velocities of the beta particle goes on changing. As velocity of the beta particle goes on changing, you know that their energy also goes on changing. Certain radioactive elements emits the beta particle of variable velocity ranging from 0 to maximum. Therefore, their kinetic energy also changes from 0 to maximum. Such electrons gives the continuous emission spectrum. So from here to here, continuous emission spectrum. Then secondary electron or internal conversion electron, these electrons are knocked off from their cell by gamma radiation, gamma particle. When gamma rays comes out from the nucleus on their path, it finds some of the electron in K, L cell, etc. And that gamma particle removes the electron from the cells. Those electrons comes out from the nucleus. They are called as internal conversion electrons. they produces the line spectrum instead of continuous emission spectrum. Then if you want an average energy between 0 to the maximum, this equation has to be integrated for every values. If you go on integrating this equation and it gives the continuous line reaches maximum and endpoint energy. So this spectrum obtained is similar to the one obtained by this beta ray spectrometer. So that means finally theoretically this equation very well explains this experimental spectrum. So I think again this completes the chapter of beta particle.